in this Monsterverse ranking, the number one movie, my favorite movie in the entire Monsterverse. As of right now, who knows? Godzilla Kong Supernova could take the top spot. And again, I've mentioned in the past, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla 2014. The movies in the top three do tend to, every once in a while, shuffle and become my number one. But the mainstay, the film that to me, in my opinion, is the best Monsterverse film yet, is Kong Skull Island, released in 2017, directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts. I think it's such a this movie is so damn good. Everything about this movie is just it holds up to this day. I love everything about it, from the camera work to the production angle to the human element to how Kong is depicted to the post-Vietnam War aesthetics. This shot of Kong is just a masterpiece. You could say this entire sequence alone of Kong fighting the choppers is worth the price of admission alone. Kong in this movie is so damn good, and I love that this is the beginning of Kong's journey through the Monsterverse. I want to share this quick shot right here. Kong just crunching the helicopter, and I love this shot because I get strong Evangelion vibes from this alone. Kong confronting it's been a while, nearly 3 hours. I'm beginning to die here. Oh gosh, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Hang on, guys. Sorry, I had to recharge the tank. Woo! But yes, Kong confronting Samuel Jackson's character here is just so damn perfect, and it just kicks off Samuel Jackson's entire he plays Colonel Packard, and his entire vendetta against Kong is told beautifully here. I'm going to touch upon more on the human characters here shortly, but I just want to say, like, just Kong, from his mannerisms, his framing, how he expresses himself. Here he's in pain, which goes to show that despite being a monster, a king, he's not a god, not yet anyway. He's no Godzilla, but that's kind of what makes him relatable, right? Here he's just grimacing in pain from the helicopter blades after they hurt him. I love this shot of Kong's blood, just a handprint on one of the side of the mountains in Skull Island. It's just there's so much powerful thematic moments. And of course here, Kong eating squid was really great. Okay, so the human characters here, I gotta say, the humans are in this movie are phenomenal. You got an all-star cast. I already mentioned Samuel Jackson here, but we also have Tom Hiddleston leading the charge as well. We got Brie Larson, and we got so many other great characters. I'm going to talk about my favorite, arguably the best human character in the entire Monsterverse, Hank Marlowe. Oh God, I love this man so much. He has the best character arc, everything about him. You can't help but root for him, cheer him on, because unquestionably, I just love how this man went from fighting in a war to learning how to respect, a man who was once seen as his bitter enemy, to seeing each other as friends, as brothers, to then honoring the passing of his friend many years later, to kind of helping the characters in this find on their own path, not only surviving Skull Island but on their journey to becoming, ideally better human beings. And I just love Marlowe's entire closure. I love how he doesn't die on Skull Island. There's no big sacrifice scene, which would have been expected in some respects. I mean, you kind of feel like that was going to, they probably thought about doing it. But I love the fact that he survives and he would finally go on, be reunited with his family, who, his wife long thought he was dead. He never knew his son, who's now a man, and it's just one of the most powerful moments. Just one of the best humans in the whole Monsterverse, and everything about him I just love. Here's another great shot of Kong and the Iwi. This film it's amazing how much like world building Kong Skull Island does, and how pivotal it's proven towards the Monsterverse expanded lore. The Iwi here, just a great idea. Like, I love how they've completely reimagined Skull Island's natives into an entire group of people, a culture that is still so mysterious to this day, but intriguing nonetheless. There's so much going on, and I love the fact that, their involvement would go on to, give us Gia and expand more, like their involvement, their history, not only on Skull Island, but you could trace their lineage and legacy back to the Hollow Earth and the development of human history. Like, it's just so good. John Goodman's character as well, Bill Randa, is just marvelous. I love this shot as well because, he says something like, "Mark my words, there will never be a more crazy time in Washington." Well, buddy, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Considering this took place during the 1970s. And yeah, a lot of things were happening. A lot of things, the 2020s have would like you to hold their beer. Brie Larson's character in this is so great too. She's a war journalist, a photographer. She's captured so much, and I would say part of what puts her at odds with Samuel Jackson's character is that he believes that people like her are the reason why they lost the war, but she was people like her, war photographers, by the way, are super vital in how they can really help the rest of the world really see just how terrible war is, for starters, and the harm, the trauma, the loss of life. Like, it's all preventable. It doesn't need to happen. And here, of course, I think Brie Larson does a fantastic job. She's an amazing actress. Her character is just pretty solid in this. And of course, my man Tom Hiddleston. I mean, we both share the name Tom, so that's almost all you need to know. But no, I really like how I really like what they did with Tom Hiddleston in this movie. I do think it would have been cool to see him more. I remember this interesting fan theory years back about how people thought Charles Dance's character in Godzilla King of the Monsters is an older version of Tom Hiddleston's character here, but that's not the case. Nope. That would have been cool, but nope. Highly unlikely we're ever going to see him again, but, I wouldn't mind to see him show up maybe as an older character in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. But let's talk about the two best human characters in the entire movie. Samuel Jackson's character, Colonel Packard. Here's a man who, it's the final days of Vietnam. The war is ending. He and his boys are heading back home. They get a job. And this man, in certain respects, never really, I could never, even if, he never received this assignment to go to Skull Island and help the main characters or help John Goodman's character, who of course had ulterior motives, who's there to prove that monsters exist. We'll get to that, but I can't help but figure, I cannot imagine Samuel Jackson's character here ever really accepting peace. This man seemed to had been Like I cannot see this man ever really being a man out of war. It seems to be the only thing his entire life revolves around. So of course, after landing on Skull Island, and surprise, monsters exist, and unfortunately, Samuel L. Jackson's character lost a lot of his men. His entire character motivation comes down to vengeance, hunting Kong down, and you can't help but understand where he's coming from. I don't know if you root for him, maybe at some times, like if you were there, maybe, but it does eventually reach a point where his vendetta, his vengeance, I'm going to honor the lives of my men. I mean, he's kept their dog tags for a reason, but then it becomes less about like you're in it to avenge them, and more you're now putting everyone's life in mortal danger for your vendetta against Kong, who is, by the way, who is only defending himself. And there are way greater themes about this that I may not have time to truly touch upon here, but I do think that is exceptional. Of course, this scene between the two of them is just chef's kiss. Like, it's really great. Here, John Goodman's character comes clean. Monsters exist. He's here to prove it, and this would eventually lay the groundwork for Monarch in the future. And of course, Samuel Jackson does not like the fact that he was being used. He was being lied to. So now the truth is out. This is a very strong scene from two seasoned vets, two amazing actors who just seamlessly give such an incredible performance. Kong is amazing in this. He is not quite at the towering presence he'll be in Godzilla vs. Kong, but we can absolutely see why he's the king of this island. And it's so funny how Zuko is actually a lot larger now than Kong was back during the 1970s. You look at this and you see, like, Kong is like a little more than 100 feet tall, but Zuko now, who again is like a midget compared to Kong, adult Kong, is still so much bigger than the Kong we see in this photo. That's pretty insane to me. But I love the framing of this shot. And finally, I'd say my favorite shot in the entire movie is Kong looking up at the Northern Lights. This is such a beautiful sequence. You know what? I take back what I said. If you made an entire movie of just something like this, completely from Kong's POV, and it's just him looking up at the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, I am sold. Give that to me now. Or maybe I should just, make a whole meditation video of Kong doing just that. So, another cool shot of Kong here. This is one of my favorites. Sorry I had to condense it though. There's so much. I mean, this is the actual framing of this is a lot wider, but I just want to say this is just one of my favorite shots in the entire movie as well. Almost at every point Kong shows up, you could just freeze frame and it looks phenomenal. I love Kong's expressions in this movie. I mean, his expressions in Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire are great, but this really does. It's really, I feel like there's more emotion here, because here Kong literally set ablaze and he just stomps on this guy. It's just so, the ferocity, it's the rage. It's so good. And of course, here's this shot of a skull crawler sneaking up behind Kong. Let's talk about the skull crawlers. Imagine being in the woods and turning around and you see this menacing creature just staring at you, and then you blink and then this is the last thing you ever see. The skull crawlers are great, filthy, terrifying antagonists, and truly terrifying. They are scary too. These are things that, I mean, just look at Brie Larson's face here, her reaction. Obviously, she had no idea that, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the director held up a picture of the skullcrawler and went like, Brie, this is what's chasing you. And I feel like the fear on her face is well warranted. What makes the skull crawlers truly terrifying is the fact that they hunt humans. Unlike the Mutos or King Ghidorah, like the skull crawlers will single out the people. We'll single you out and we'll gobble you up, and it's a horrendous death. This shot right here as well. I mean, God, the main skull devil here, the big one. It's you know, for a brief second, despite how terrifying it looks, it knew that this guy was trying to lure it into a trap, and then instead of this poor guy getting his a sacrifice, ending his life, but maybe taking this giant monster down with him, the skull crawler would then like just whack him with his tail and send him flying into a mountain where he blew up. Like, it just like, ugh. Just look at this shot though. This looks pretty damn awesome. I love this stuff. Now also imagine, like, even if you have like you're manning a 50 cal, you got like some major firepower in your corner, but then you see something like this coming at you. Like, oh my God, how do you not like just I don't know. I feel like my soul would leave my body. I would just, astral projection, it may not be real, but it's going to be real in a second because I'm out of here. And I love the shot of Kong coming out of nowhere to save the people. And there's this other shot, I forgot to include it, but there's this shot where right before Kong and the Skullcrawler have their big final battle, Kong takes a moment and looks over at the humans just to make sure that they get out of harm's way. I love little tiny minor details like that, but that goes a long way in establishing Kong's character. But this battle is just intense. Just look at this shot. God, just the pain on Kong's face. It's just so crazy. Ugh. And also take a look at the intensity in Kong's eyes. So much emotion, so much rage. I just love it. I love it so much. Kong in this movie is done to perfection. And I apologize for the image quality on this one, but one thing that I wish the Monsterverse would do more, and we kind of have started seeing that more now, fortunately, is more daytime battles between the monsters. This entire shot, this entire final battle sequence is exquisite, but shots like this are just so awe-inspiring. I mean, it's to die for, guys. I just fall in love with this sort of shit. Like, this is just, I'm getting lost for words, and it's not because I've been streaming for more than 3 hours and I'm losing my voice. It's because I really do genuinely love this sort of thing. It's just incredible. Oh, Evolve Godzilla, I'm sorry I didn't see your comment from before. I would have responded it sooner. You make a comment regarding Ford from Godzilla 2014. Let me read it now. What does Ford even think about Godzilla? We know he hates the Mutos, but he never celebrates their demise. They killed his parents, but he never even mentions Godzilla. This is a fair criticism of the movie. The novel does kind of like go more into Ford's head, and he is kind of like actually grateful to Godzilla for avenging his parents in a way by killing the male Muto. But yeah, that's a fair criticism. As far as what does Ford even think about Godzilla, we know earlier when Serizawa was showing him slides of Godzilla, Ford sees him as a monster, no better than, you know, the Mutos. But later, I kind of feel like that shot here, I'm going to go back to it real quick, just so we understand each other. This shot right here, I think, made Ford realize that there's more to this creature than meets the eye. Now in this shot, I feel like more than ever Ford realizes Godzilla is he's no mere monster. He's not just the king of the monsters. He is a force for good. He is an ally Ford can actually trust. And indeed, when Godzilla comes and saves him, whether Godzilla did it on purpose or not to save Ford, you know, that I'll leave it to your interpretation. That's left to the viewer to decide. I think Ford, in the end, would say he's truly grateful for Godzilla. So, you know, he may not have mentioned Godzilla, but I think he, you know, his a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So when the way I think you could tell just by looking at his face that he is, he probably sees Godzilla a lot in a more favorable way, similar to how Serizawa sees him. But anyway, back to Skull Island here. Skull Island Kong. Oh man, I love this shot. It's so terrifying. So it sends a chill up my spine. Again, the skull crawler is such a terrifying enemy. And I do love how here Kong, he's wrapped up in chains, similarly to how he was in chains from the 1933 original classic, and indeed in other King Kong movies, Kong would go on to be in chains as well. But unlike in those movies where breaking free, trying to break free of these chains of bondage usually resulted in Kong's painful demise, in this movie Kong rises above, he breaks his chains, even uses them as a weapon. He kind of it's similarly to how like Serizawa found a new, he took the nuclear bomb and found a new way of using it, repurposed it in a way to achieve some good. Similarly here, Kong uses his chains, but I would say metaphorically in a way better way. It repurposes these chains as a means to take down his enemy and save the lives of his human companions. And of course, this shot right here is just so breathtaking. It's so amazing. In this shot, Kong is holding Brie Larson's character. She, the skull crawler is trying to eat him. So it really is such a great framing. I love how Kong is risking his life for the humans, and it does go show a long way. And I'm gonna real quick jump back to the 2017 Skull Island here, where it concerns Kong and how the whole point and what his human companion during this entire show run was trying to emphasize is that, it's all about empathy at the end of the day. It's about compassion. It's about fighting for others. And here, Kong is doing just that. And I think at this point, Kong goes from being the king of Skull Island to becoming the hero of the Monsterverse. This is the beginning of that hero's journey. And we can't forget the post-credits scene that would lead to the Monsterverse expanding, becoming the cinematic universe we know and love it today. I had chills in the theaters when, we see these cave paintings of Godzilla and King Ghidorah throwing down. The scene cuts to black. We hear Godzilla's iconic, legendary roar.